Aloha, everybody. Welcome to the Hawaiiverse podcast, a podcast that supports local by putting lihimui on popcorn and furikake on rice, and popcorn sometimes too. I'm your host, Kamaka Diaz, and lihimui popcorn with furikake and arare when you're watching a movie is pure bliss. I hope you get your popcorn ready today because we have a great episode for you. Before we introduce our guest, I just want to remind you about our free Hawaiiverse app available now on the App Store. Let us know how you're enjoying it and leave a review for us if you're loving it. Okay, let's introduce our guest. Our guest is a womanpreneur from the island of Oahu. She is the owner and designer of the socially conscious and ethically made clothing brand Yireh. After traveling the world, she has made it her mission to give back to others while growing a successful business. This avid surfer and world traveler is also a wife and mother of two, and I am stoked to talk stories with her today. Her name is Emily Jaime. Aloha, Emily. Welcome to the podcast. How are you doing?
Good. Wow, what an introduction. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I'm so happy you're here. It's nice to meet you. Glad you liked the intro. I work so hard on it every single time.
You did your research. You did a very good job. Thank you.
Yes. And just so people know, we just get out of the way. It's Jaime, right?
Yes, Jaime.
Jaime,
yes.
And even though it's spelled like Jamie.
Yeah, it's not Jamie. It's Jaime.
Jaime. And that's Spanish?
Yeah. Yes, it's my husband's last name, so I believe it's Spanish descent, but yes.
Awesome. And it's Yireh.
Yireh.
Okay.
Yes.
And what is the meaning of Yireh? We'll talk about it all, but I'm sure a lot of people want to know what it means.
Yeah, so Yireh means will provide, and it's something that kind of stuck with me throughout my teenage years. And when I decided to start a business, it was something that I just really wanted to instill in the background of my business for the longevity.
So we will provide.
Yes, we will provide, and it's in Hebrew.
Okay.
So it's an interesting story. I don't know if you want to get into
it. We'll get into it,
okay.
But first we have to know your story.
True.
Before we talk to anybody, we also got to start at the beginning, and I like to know the guest and where it all started. So before we get into that, I got to know where you from, where you grad, and what was it like growing up?
Yes, so I am from Kailua, grew up in Kailua. I went to Kalaheo High School, but I actually moved away my senior year. Oh. My family realized that they could buy land for very great prices in Tennessee, and so I actually moved there my senior year of high school went to high school there for 4 months, graduated early, and then moved back to Oahu when I was like freshly 18.
Oh, wait, so you went to senior year of high school for 4 months only?
Yeah, I was like had enough credits to graduate, and I was like, okay, bye.
So you did that because you wanted to come back to Hawaii?
Yeah. So I just worked like a lot while I was there, and then came back. Yeah.
So your family's still in Tennessee?
They all live in Tennessee now.
Wow.
Yeah, including my sister, my grandparents.
So who did you move back with when you came here?
Nobody. Yeah, I came by myself.
By yourself?
Yes.
How did you afford rent?
I did some creative things. I was a live-in nanny for a little bit.
Wow.
I lived with my best friend for a little bit, and then I was a live-in nanny for like 5 years. And then while I was starting my business, I did that too.
So that's how you get free rent.
Exactly. Yes, I just am free labor for taking care of kids.
And then you traveled a lot, right?
Yes.
I saw that you've been to over 20 countries.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess while traveling, that's where you got the inspiration for Yireh. Yireh.
Yes, yeah.
I want to say it differently every single time.
That's okay. I will not be offended at all.
No, I gotta say it. Yireh. Okay. Yeah. So, okay. Before we get into the whole Yireh story, what did you do when you were growing up? What kind of things were you into?
Yeah, I was very much into surfing, going to the beach. I grew up in Kailua, so learning to surf at shore breaks. And my stepdad was actually in the military, so I was lucky enough to get to go on base and surf the breaks there. So I grew up surfing there a lot, and just kind of riding my cruiser bike around Kailua, just being at times were kind of different then. So I feel like we wandered around a lot and just hung out.
Yeah, I mean back then, because we're about the same age, so it was before social media.
Yes.
Before, I guess internet was just invented around that time, but we use internet.
We're showing our age.
Yeah. We look young.
Yes, we look young. It's fine.
Thing,
it's fine.
Nobody knows. Yeah, but that's how it was growing up. I mean, I remember just playing with all the kids in the neighborhood, riding bikes,
climbing trees, hopping fences.
Getting hurt,
yes.
Having somebody go and find you, where's Kamaka? Where's Emily? their mom said they gotta come home for dinner.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
knocking on neighbors' doors, be like, can
Exactly.
so-and-so come out and play? Like,
Yes.
can I come inside?
Yeah,
Yeah.
those were the days. I remember
Yeah.
like sneaking through like a barbed wire fence to get across to my neighbor's side, so we could like play video games or whatever it was, just run
Exactly.
outside, water balloon fight, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
what do kids do these days? I don't even know.
iPads.
Oh, true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
iPads.
It's a hard generation.
Yeah, it's weird because they grow up with social media.
Yes, we were the last
Yeah.
gem.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The last gen.
Sorry,
gem.
everybody
Yeah.
after us.
No, I like it because we had half.
True. Yeah.
So it's like we know what it is without social media. We know what it is with social media.
Yeah.
And I think we can like, it's always nice to reminisce. And
Yeah.
Think back like, oh wow, good times. But I mean, social media is awesome. I mean, like we both have platforms
Yes.
that we use for our businesses. So it's like it is super helpful.
I love social media. It really, and it has allowed me to meet so many people and become friends with people. And it's a great tool for communication, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so you went to Tennessee, came back to Hawaii.
Yes.
You were a nanny for 5 years, and then during that time, were you traveling?
Yeah, so my plan was to come back here and go to start college, but I actually lost my residency by moving to Tennessee my senior year. So I wasn't able to like get residence tuition, anymore to like go to in-state. That's what it's called. In-state tuition. I can't even remember.
WUI.
What is it? Yeah,
The
exactly.
acronym.
Yeah. So I couldn't get the in-state tuition anymore, and it was like crazy expensive to not have that. So I was like, I'm not gonna pay these prices just because I left for a year. And so I was like, well, I guess I'm gonna travel. And so I started like making and selling jewelry and to be able to like afford my travels. And I actually sold everything I owned when I was like 19 years old, because also I was living like nowhere like super permanent. I was like a live-in nanny. So, and the family that I was working with was like amazing and would let me go on long trips. Like I was like, can I leave for 6 months? And they were like, okay. But so I sold everything I owned and I just like backpacked around the world.
Wow.
And that's kind of where I really fell in love with like cultures and traveling and getting to see something beyond. Like I love our island is so amazing, so diverse, but to get to see like Europe and Israel and just like something totally foreign to me that I've never known just opened up my mind so much. And also surf trips. I went on several surf trips to Indonesia, which is kind of where my love for the country formed.
Okay, and you went alone this whole time?
I went with one friend on the backpacking trip. And then Indonesia, I actually joined an organization, Surfing the Nations. It's here in Oahu.
Oh,
and
what
I
is
did
that?
They're like a nonprofit organization that goes on different like humanitarian surf trips around the world.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Jordan, we gotta get on that.
Yeah. So I went to Indonesia first with them, and then I went afterwards by myself with some friends after.
Okay. Wow, I didn't know there was some like surf organizations where so you volunteer and surf. What a life.
It's pretty great. Yeah. I was like, this is what I was born to do.
It's like Peace Corps but surfing.
Exactly, right? It's exactly that. Yes,
Oh, that's
yes.
awesome.
So it was pretty awesome, and it was a great time of life, and just to get to meet people and just be very open with different opportunities. And
what drew you to traveling? Did you travel a lot growing up, or it was you didn't travel, so you just wanted to see the world?
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to see the world. I've always just been drawn to like learning about people and just wanting to experience different like cultures, and it's just always knowing different, like being immersed with so many different cultures here has always wanted me to go experience it in other places. And it just seems so like, I don't know, it just seems so purposeful to me. Like you just learn so much and you meet. So I've just always wanted to.
I've always said, you learn so much more just traveling, being outside the classroom than you do in school.
Yes.
And, even for people that don't decide to go to college, like the people that backpack for a year or two, whatever, they learn so much. And I encourage anyone to go travel and see the world, just because like there's so much growth that happens just being in new environments and with yourself and just learning. You understand the world so much better.
Agreed.
And yourself so much better just by being out. somewhere new, right?
Yes, I totally agree. And there's different forms of education. It's not just like, I mean, I feel like our generation kind of learned that it was like one way, cut and dry. Like you need to go to college, you have to do this. And it's great. And I think college is amazing, especially for certain professions. Like if you're going to be a doctor, you need to go to college. Yeah. But like, you know, there are different forms of education, and you can learn from so many different things. Yeah.
So what did you want to be when you grew up?
I went through an array of stages. When I was 10, I thought I was going to be a singer, but I cannot sing at all. So that was like, no. I realized that tough. Early on.
There's autotune.
Yes, right. Yeah. Maybe that could be a thing. No, I don't have rhythm, but that's fine. And then I thought I wanted to be a lawyer because I was like, I'm good at arguing and I like love social justice.
Well, what does your husband think about that?
Oh, he knows. He's supportive. I don't know. My parents didn't like it though. But so I was always told that, I guess, by my parents, like, you should be a lawyer because you're like so good at this. And I was just very into like justice and like wanting like things to be fair. I'm a Scorpio, so maybe that's where that comes from too. But then I've always been really creative, and so I've always, like, in high school I started like making jewelry and selling it to my friends, and so I had actually from a young age wanted to design clothing and would keep sketchbooks of like clothes and stuff. And so I started doing that small scale, and it's kind of just like what it formed into, I guess. Okay. And then wanted to add the justice part like into it.
Yeah, and that's basically the foundation of Yireh, right?
Yes.
It's a socially conscious clothing company. And it started, or I guess you got the idea when you were traveling. Can you tell us about the story? Now we're at the story part.
Yes.
Can you tell us the story of Yireh?
Yeah. So I think just traveling around, meeting different artisans, I was never necessarily attracted to like the main tourist things. Like when I was traveling, like I love to go like deep into villages or like meet people that, you know, tourists would maybe necessarily not stop to talk to. And I would just...
You'd be a good Peace Corps volunteer.
Really?
You and your husband should join once your kids get older.
I always wanted to when I was younger, but I ended up finding the surfing one. I was like, that one. Yeah, okay. But I would love to check it out, definitely. So yeah, I love to like meet people that people wouldn't normally like give the time of day to, and just like talk story. And one day I actually ended up coming back, and I did start college, and I got a scholarship to study abroad, like anywhere in the world that I wanted. Oh, nice. And I was like, I'm gonna go to Bali. Is there a college there? Like I didn't even know. I was like, I need to figure out how to go there to live there for like a little bit because I just loved it so much. Mm-hmm. So I went to school there, and while I was there, I met like a family of artisans who I just became really close to, and I just like would always talk to, and they told me their story about their business kind of like going under during like some attacks that happened in Indonesia. And it had always been my goal to like create a product that like fused like my love for like both islands, like here in Hawaii and also like Indonesia. And so I just started creating with them, and it happened kind of organically.
So it happened on a study abroad, but so how long was it? Like a couple months?
It was the program was 4 months, but I stayed for 6.
Okay, so you did the 4 months of school, and then you stayed an extra on your own.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
With that family or just?
No, I was with my then it was my boyfriend at the time. Now he's my husband, and then a few other friends. They all moved together with me. I was like, we're going, oh, wow, nice. And so we rented a house all together. And
and it's super cheap over there.
Yeah, it's pretty. It was very like reasonable. We found like a very like nice woman, and we rented out. She was leaving, and we rented out her villa, and she was like a local Indonesian woman who was like a successful businesswoman, and she let us rent out her villa for the 6 months while she was abroad.
Yeah, I remember maybe in like middle school or high school, my friends went on a bodyboarding trip in Indonesia. And they said it was so cheap. I think they got like a place to stay plus a moped to ride around.
Oh my
like
gosh.
Food included for like $5 a day.
Oh, that's wild. Yeah. Like that. I definitely back in the day used to rent a mat for like $2 a day and sleep in front of like my favorite wave, like in a little hotel.
Wow, that's awesome. And so your husband, he's a surfer too?
Yes. Yeah. We actually met in Indonesia, but he's from here.
Oh, what?
Yeah. Which is wild.
Oh, but he's from
from here.
Okay, tell us a story.
Yeah. So we didn't meet here. We met I was on a boat trip, like surfing surfing different islands. Like you can take these boat trips and they take you around for like a week, I think, to different islands in Indonesia to surf different breaks. And he was surfing. So we were at Desert Point in Lombok. I don't know if you've ever heard of that wave. Okay. Yeah. So he was staying on land, like, and surfing that wave. And I was on the boat, and we had met. Actually, take it back. We had met the year before on another island in Indonesia. Oh, wow. And just so I was with Surfing the Nations, and he was a friend of Surfing the Nations, and he happened to be staying on the island. And I was like, I was so happy. I was on my around the world trip. I was so happy to meet another person from Hawaii because I hadn't ran into anyone. So random. It was super random, but he like was not giving me the time of day because like he was like building like a bonfire, and I was like so excited to see him because I was like, you're from Hawaii. Like I want to like talk to someone. I miss like people from like Hawaii. And he was like, I'm like busy building a bonfire. I was like, whatever. So I decided I didn't like him. And then when we met in the water the next year, he was like, recognized me and like came up and was like, hey, like you look like you're like from Kailua. And I was like, what? And I was like, what does that even mean? I totally forgot who he was. I like did not remember him. And he started telling me all these things about myself, and I was like, what is happening right now? How does he know all this about me? And then later I remembered, and I was like, oh yeah, I don't like that guy. And I just like paddled away.
Wow, what a pickup line.
Yeah.
Hey, you look, hey girl, hey honey girl, you look like you from Kailua.
I know that was not the best one, but hey, I guess it got somewhere.
Yeah. So that interaction happened, and then how did you guys end up hanging out or being friends?
Yeah, later when I came back, he like saw I was back from my like around the world trips, like commented on one of my posts on Instagram. I didn't see it for like another 4 months, and then later I was like, oh sorry, I missed this. Yeah, like let's hang out. And I ended up going to like one of his surf competitions or something, and we met.
Was he like a professional surfer?
He used to be like semi-pro for like,
wow,
but
awesome.
Not like, yeah.
Wow, what a story.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah. And it's also cool because that kind of goes back to what we were saying about how we had we grew up half without social media, half with social media. And then your story is kind of like that because you met in person organically, and then through social media you connected again.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's wild. It's so wild. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Half.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So going back to the story of Yireh, did you start it while you were over there, or when you came back you had the idea and then you put it into motion?
It's like a very complicated, because there's like different points of starting. Like I've used the name Yireh since I was like 18 years old, like making and selling jewelry through like Etsy. And then I used it when I decided, so I started by selling like to gain the capital, because you have to start somewhere. I wasn't somebody who was gifted a large sum of money. I'm self-funded.
But you're from Kailua.
Yes, but that's
so everyone in Kailua got money.
No, not me though. I'm not one of those. But yeah, so I had to like I'm like bootstrapped, so I had to like come up with everything myself. And so I started. This was back when like sunrise shells were like all the craze, and so I was buying sunrise shells from divers and making them into jewelry. And so I saved up like a little bit of money, and when I went to study abroad, and I was even doing that under the name Yireh. So then when I went to study abroad, I was like, I like want to actually make a product, and I don't know what it is. I'm going to Indonesia. I'm going to be in the land where you can make like almost anything your heart desires, and I'm going to figure it out when I get there. And so while I was there, I just like was open to it. I thought at first I was going to make purses, and I started sourcing like leathers and fabrics and stuff, and then that didn't pan out. And then when I met the family of artisans, he was like, do you want to make t-shirts? And I was like, maybe I might. And so I started testing it out, and I was like, yeah, I want to make t-shirts and shorts. And so then I started like the brand Yireh, like then kind of, and then launched it the following year.
Okay. And so what is it about Bali or Indonesia that draws people there? Is it they're really good at making things? Because I know a lot of people start bikini brands over there.
Yes. Yeah, I think that they are pretty good. It's very accessible to find. Like there's a lot of like startup companies in Indonesia. Like I feel like what always drew me there is that the people in the culture are so creative, and they're just so great at doing, like, becoming masters at what they do. So like literally some families are just like, we're going to become manufacturers, and they learn how to do it, and they do it. But I was lucky enough to partner with like some later on, like some very like amazing like female founded manufacturing companies, but I think it's like the culture and just the spirit there, like it's just so inviting and warm, and just a great culture and place to be. Like there's waves, there's great food, the people are amazing, it's like absolutely beautiful, similar to like what draws people here, I think.
That makes sense. How many people there speak English?
A lot, especially in Bali, I feel like, because it's more tourist kind of like here, whereas the outer islands, I would think it's less.
Okay. So I saw on your Instagram you showed a bunch of like behind the scenes at the factories and the people that work to make your clothing, and I thought that was super cool just to see that, and you know, put a face to, you know, the people working so hard to make these things, and I thought it was super neat. What do you think separates like them doing that then compared to like the idea we have like sweatshop workers and you know you hear just like cheap labor Chinese workers, you know, little kids just working in factories. You know,
that is
like
horrible.
The first thing that comes to your head when you think of things made abroad, right? Yes,
it's totally not like that. Indonesia actually has some pretty strict like labor laws too that are on like the factories who are legit and like, you know, pay their taxes and like are signed with the government. So I'm super lucky to have partnered with a female founded like factory who is RAP certified, and they like pay their workers fair wages. Their workers like stay with them. Like I started the business when I was like 22, so I've been doing it like 23 maybe, I don't know, about 8 years now, and most of the people have like stayed there like the entire time. Nice. And so they like don't leave. They're like provided medical, dental insurance, and like are treated super well. So that's pretty and then I feel like what really sets us apart from like the other brand or like, you know, other people doing things is that we work with like artists to like design our prints as well, which is pretty cool to like, you know, bring in another like small business that does their work into ours too.
It's collaborative.
Yes, exactly. I'm all about the collaboration.
Yeah. So what technically makes something ethical? Like ethical? What makes something ethically made?
I think that it's how the workers are paid, like fair payment for your labor. So not necessarily just like, you know, 10 cents an hour or something. It's like a living wage. Like they can actually live off of. I don't know if that's true or not of like other countries. I'm sure, but like it
could, because in Madagascar, people would work in the rice fields all day. It's so hot, beating sun. They get one lunch break with just like a big bowl of rice with some like meat on top or beans, and they just share it, and they get paid $1 a day.
Oh my gosh, that's
$1.
That's horrible.
That's crazy.
I always just want to be like, come, let's do something else. So I don't 10
cents an hour is probably not too far off than what it actually
that's
could
true,
be.
Right? Yeah, that's sad, but. Yeah, so I think a living wage where it's like the country, and it's also comparable to like where you're living. Like a living wage here is much different than a living wage in Indonesia. Because of just staying relative to that, and then fair treatment of workers, safe working conditions, like the factory or the place you're working, you're not gonna like get electrocuted, or the building's not gonna fall down on you. Everything's maintained, and I think that would do it.
So it doesn't really have to do with like the clothing, like the material.
That would probably be more on the sustainability side of things.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I get it.
Yes. So ethical is like the treatment, the fair treatment of like the human beings and the workers who produce the products.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
And then when it comes to sustainability, that's like a whole nother thing of like the environment and inks and like all of that. It's a lot to learn.
It is. Yeah. it all kind of blends in to one. So I'm always curious about like what are the definitions and what makes something, you know, ethically sustainable, whatever.
Yeah, it is wild, but it's a lot.
Okay, awesome. Well, I saw this term online, slow fashion, and you practice slow fashion. Yeah, I didn't know how to say that. You practice slow fashion. What is slow fashion?
Slow fashion to me, so like fast fashion, to give you like a definition of what that is like they're releasing collections, several collections sometimes every week. So like how many weeks are in a year? 52,
53, I think depends on
the year. So like 52 collections a year. Whereas like, so that is like they produce so much. the industry, like people, they can't even sell everything they make. It ends up in landfills, and it becomes like a huge like issue when it comes to, you know, the sustainability and our ecosystem. So slow fashion is actually producing thoughtfully, intentionally what you can sell, doing small batch drops and releases, which I feel like is so much more special because you won't be wearing the same thing that everyone else is wearing. It keeps it like exclusive and just like the product itself very special. And then there's not a lot of waste and
Okay, that makes sense. I was thinking it's more like how things are manufactured. It's just like printing press. It's like making things, or it's like super fast. Or like the opposite of slow fashion was just like always just pumping things out, you know. Just
I think it's still kind of like that, right? So everything's just done on a slower pace, a slower level, and more thoughtfully and just intentionally of like how much you make versus not like overproducing. Yeah,
no, I love that. I mean, if you've ever been to one of these foreign countries, you see like they have in Madagascar they call it friperie, which is like the market. It's a French word, like you basically where people are selling like a bunch of old clothes. You can go. It's like thrifting, I guess.
That's
okay,
what it is. Thrifting.
But there's so much old clothes, and like ever since going there, I almost never buy new clothes. I mean, like shout out to all the people that send me clothes. I mean, snazzy golf, like the shirt I'm wearing right now.
Love
like I never have to buy clothes, luckily. But not just because people send me stuff, but because like I don't want to, because
you saw what it does.
I guess I shouldn't be saying that because you want people to buy.
Excuse me, buy my clothes. No, I'm just kidding.
But this is just me personally as a guy. My girlfriend's just looking online shopping all the time, so she'll buy your stuff.
Yes,
don't
thank
worry.
you.
Just I won't.
shout out for me.
Like, oh man, it's just there's so much waste out there.
It is. It's true. And actually, what is interesting is that's what happens is that so all of the waste that happens in the United States, they send it off to foreign countries. And then they dump it on them, and they're like, I don't know what to do with this.
So they just start selling it to everyone for super cheap, but you can find some gems.
I bet, yes.
Yeah, definitely. So slow fashion, that's a cool thing to keep in mind. Okay. Do you think it's important to sacrifice like money, like a profit over convenience when you're doing certain things in business?
What do you mean?
So like, say we're talking about like doing things ethically or sustainable.
Yes.
Like instead of, you know, making sure you have all the rules set in place, they have like perfect working conditions, but that's maybe gonna cost more.
Definitely.
Or it's gonna be slower.
Yes.
You know, what is the line that you draw?
I'm definitely more on the side of like making sure like humanity over profits. And so I definitely stay on the side of like, if it's going to cost more or take longer or I've made some really hard like sacrifices of like collections not coming in on time because I needed it printed a certain way, or I needed things to be like that. Like they're like, oh, sorry, we don't have this method, but we could do this. And I'm like, no, I really need it to be this. And so, you know, sacrificing, missing, like, you know, pushing back all my deadlines, which is like really hard. So I feel like I can only feel good running this business if I know the ethics and the morals behind it are like legit.
Yeah, that's awesome. I agree. I think that's always something we should keep in mind.
Yes, and support businesses that are like that. Like I like to support businesses who I know. Like I feel like I do the hard work, so like other people don't have to think about it. Like I'm going to make a good product and like make sure it's like very well made on the back end, and like everyone's treated like really good. And then when the consumer goes to buy it, they don't even have to think about it. They can just like trust that it was done that way. Yeah. And so like I love supporting companies like that too.
Yeah. I think that's something people should keep in mind when they're buying stuff, you know, whether that's clothing or handmade products, because you're not paid for, you know, the product itself. You're paid for the time that was spent to make it. You know, instead of buying like a $10 shirt from Costco, you're buying like a $25, $30, maybe even $40 shirt that's like ethically made. Maybe it's made with like organic material, whatever. So you just gotta know what you're spending your money on. But it's so much better spending your money knowing that it's going to somebody like local, or somebody that, you know, it's not a corporation, rather than just like supporting a big corporation that, you know, don't even care about you.
They do not care about you. I mean, some might, but I love supporting local, and also understanding that it doesn't always have to be like not everybody has the budget to just make sure that every single purchase is like absolutely legit and like whatever. So just doing what's within your means and making small changes where you can.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome. I'm happy that you're very ethical. We keep throwing around that word, but that shows in just what you're talking about, your
Thank
passion,
you.
and I'm sure it shows in your business as well, and your clothing.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So I see a lot these days, a lot of womenpreneurs coming up, starting their own business. A lot of them have stories like you, just like sold jewelry, just to like start making money and have this cool like or just like what is it called? What is the opposite of a villain story?
What's I'm not the one to help you. I don't know.
No. Like what is it called? Like
what is it called?
Just a good story.
Yes,
there's a cooler way to say it, and I just can't think of it right now.
That's okay.
Okay. But basically, yeah, these cool stories of how they created their business.
Yeah.
And back in the days, there was not a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
I saw one of your articles, I think it said in 1972, only 4% of businesses were owned by women in America.
Oh, that's cool.
And then in 2012, 36 of businesses were women owned. And of the nearly 4.5 million new jobs in management created since 1980, women have obtained the majority of them, although overall men still hold most management positions at 60%. So it's cool to see the kind of shift that's happening, because growing up, even before our generation, like our mother, grandmothers, great-grandmothers, I don't want to say never, but it's pretty rare that you would ever see them in doing something entrepreneurial.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's really cool and inspiring to see people like you, Kylie,
thank you.
one of our other past guests, Rose Wong, Kolohe Jewelry.
Love them all.
Yeah, do these things, and it's becoming more normalized. So I feel like young women growing up, they see it as a possibility, because maybe our generation, our mother's generation, they didn't see it as a possibility. True. Because they had no one to inspire them.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, so I just, that's something that I was just thinking about, and it's cool to see it happening in real time. Yes. Right? You're a living example of it.
Thank you.
So like, what does that mean to you that you're like part of this I guess it's still pretty new, this new movement. I think it's fair to say that, this new movement of womenpreneurs.
Yeah, it's very interesting how you laid it all out like that. It is very interesting to think about this shift. And to me, I actually don't think I even realized it or got super serious about it until I had my daughter. And then I realized, I was like, oh, I want to be like a great example of like what you can do in life, and to be like, not necessarily like, I want her to realize you can like shatter glass ceilings, you can do everything you want to do, like nothing like can hold you back. And for my son, not just for my daughter. But I feel like that's when I got very passionate, or like felt that passion, motivation behind it. Before, I don't think I thought much about it, because I was just like, I just have a dream. I just want to do what I want to do. Like, this is what it is. And then like, I guess as you get older and your responsibilities get bigger, you start to realize things. And now it feels, I mean, I absolutely love supporting. Like, I have so many other friends in business who are women, and I think that they are all doing amazing jobs and run amazing companies, and I feel honored to be amongst the mix. Yeah,
awesome. I love that. Also, side note, I just thought of the word origin story.
Origin story.
Yeah, superhero origin story.
I love it.
Yeah, I don't know why I automatically thought of villain. Origin story. Yeah, but yeah, the Yireh origin story.
Yes, yeah. I love that.
Okay, so what is the most rewarding part about running your business?
The most rewarding part is definitely getting to, I feel like, meet people and be a part of new circles of things that I didn't, have access to, getting access to like mentors and just different things like that, getting my customers and getting to see like my clothing on different like women, and just like from the get-go, I wanted Yireh to be like a very opposite of like the regular fashion industry. Like the regular industry tells you like, you need to wear X to be beautiful, like you need to wear this to be beautiful, you need to wear this to be trendy, you only look good if you're in this is like what it is. And like for me, I just don't think that's right, and I think that all women are like beautiful in their own like ways, like inside, outside, like everything. And so I want them to feel like the confidence, and so when people like step into Yireh, I just want them to like feel like that inner like self-confidence. And I think when I get messages of people saying like, oh my gosh, I felt so great in this, I felt confident, like I went to my job interview, or I went to an event and I was wearing Yireh and I just felt so good, like those are the things that I'm like, this is why I do what I do. I want women to feel good, and I don't want women to feel like, you know, they have to change themselves in order to be like trendy or whatever.
That's beautiful. I mean,
thank you.
I want to get in some Yireh right now.
Yes, please.
An amazing speech.
I might have something in your size.
Yeah, you got anything for men? Or I can just wear it.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
I'm not afraid to say I've worn a dress
you can
multiple
step into
times.
Some dresses.
Yeah,
You're comfortable
I think I look pretty good in some dresses. Yeah. I think I got the right frame for it. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
That's awesome, actually.
Yes.
Okay. What is the most challenging part of it?
The most challenging is staying motivated. Like I feel.
How do you stay motivated?
Yeah, it's very hard. Like I mean, and just like from a business perspective, like you always want to do good sales wise, right? And so then you see other people, and you know, comparison starts to come in, and then I feel like that's the really hard thing, is to like keep the comparison out, keep the motivation in, and like reaching like for your goals of like what is true for you and yourself. And so how to stay motivated, I feel like it's a daily battle, and it's all different. And I think it's really going inward and seeing like, what do I need today? Like, do I need to actually take a break and step away? Do I need to like, you know, do something to like, I don't know, reinvigorate like my inspiration?
Yeah. Well, that's a perfect segment to my next question is, how do you keep yourself happy and mentally stable?
Yes, this is a great one, and I feel like needs to be asked more. Definitely several things. Like I go to therapy, so every month, like once or twice a month, so I'm in therapy, and that helps a lot. Like just to be able to talk to somebody and get to like vent or talk through any issues, and just keep like your kind of like going to the doctor, right? Like you keep your like mental health like in check. Working out and like staying physical. Like I'm the type of person that needs to have like physical activity to like have like that release of like endorphins and just re-inspiration. And so like surfing, which I don't get to do as much as I want to anymore, but or just like any form of physical activity, and then making time for like my friends and family. I feel like those are definitely key.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point about going to the doctor for mental health. I mean, just like we go for checkups. If something's wrong with our physical body, we go and get it checked, right? We get an x-ray, we get an MRI if something's broken. You know, if something's not right up here, you know, there's a solution for that. It's therapy, but it's not talked about a lot. There's a stigma on it. Like if you go to therapy, you're broken, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when I break an arm, you see me with a cast. Nobody, you know, it's like, you're like, oh, you went to the hospital because you broke your arm. Haha, look at you. You know, you're weak. Yeah. You know.
Yeah, and I don't even know.
It's just about changing the way you look at it.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like just being a part of the human experience. Yeah. Like we all experience emotions. We all have an array of emotions. You can't always identify them. We didn't always grow up learning exactly what every feeling that we have is. And so being able to just even like seeing it as like an educational experience of like, oh, I'm going to learn more about how I like can express my emotions, what I'm feeling, how I'm feeling about this, how to communicate my emotions. It's actually, I feel like it's just a very great way to then understand other humans, and it's literally a normal part. Like we just all kind of hide it in our own ways, but everybody experiences like different feelings, you know? And so to me it's very normal, and I feel like it should be more normalized.
Yeah, definitely normalized. When I came back from Peace Corps, or when you finish the Peace Corps, they offer therapy during the whole service, because mental health is super important. I mean, you're living away, you're in a new environment, you know, things happen.
In a rough environment.
Yeah. And then when you come back, they offer you like free therapy sessions. Luckily, I never had to take it. I went to the Lo'i, and I got therapy.
Oh, I like
which
that.
Which is, you know, a little different. But same. But basically, it's just, you know, being able to be in an environment where you can talk about things, you're with maybe just like-minded people that can relate to you, what you're going through. I think that's, you know, we all just have like say the word vent sesh, you know, you're just like venting with friends, and like that's just therapeutic in itself, you know. Or just like surfing, you know, being out in the open, not having to out on the water, not having to worry about, you know, checking your notifications or responding to emails, you know, that's also therapeutic. So whatever it is that you like, that helps you cope with whatever you're going through, like that's therapy right there.
Yes,
so I think
agreed,
we all self-therapy ourselves. I was trying to think of a way to say it. Self-therapy.
Perfect.
So, we all self-therapy, whether that's with eating a pie or just like doing whatever you want. But yeah, just talking, having these conversations, even like having conversations like this one-on-one without our phones, you know, things to distract us. You know, we're learning about each other. We're learning about ourselves. Like when you say stuff like about like the clothing, or just like new things that like I was wondering about, or just like when we're talking about therapy right now, and like how you just brought up about like going to the doctor for something physical. Like I never thought about that, and like that somebody hearing this or watching this can maybe see that, and they relate to that, and like, oh wow, I guess I never thought about like that. Maybe I'll go check out therapy right now, because it's not like what I thought, you know.
Totally.
So like this whole podcast is just therapy. Everything we do is therapy. So I think it's just, we got to normalize it in a way where it's like we're all doing it.
Yeah, and just like
we're just not going into a room with a doctor and sitting down on talking to somebody.
And just like how you know, there's not just one way to get education. Just like you're saying, there's not just one way to like find that mental health.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. I mean, it's just, mental health is just not talked about enough. I mean, over the last couple of years,
it's gotten a lot more.
Yeah, you see a lot of athletes, celebrities, like people with a big platform, you know, talking about it, sharing the light on it. I mean, just recently the Green Power Ranger, he took his own life.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's absolutely horrible. Yeah, it's just man. Yeah,
it's like, maybe everything can seem fine on the surface, you know. I mean, especially, you know, he's a Power Ranger. Everything's good in his life, whatever.
No,
you know?
It's super important. Yeah, I've actually always struggled with mental health. So like I've been in therapy since I was like 6 years old. So it's always been something, like I was like diagnosed with like clinical like depression and anxiety. But so it's always been like a struggle. But it is really finding like the people you can talk to, like a form to like get, you know, keep your motivation up, your inspiration up, and to like find, I guess, that like just like different motivations, and to change your perspective on things, and to like get help when you need it, because it's super important. And I'm like the first one to say it. Like I think if you feel anything, like it's good to get help, and it's not like a weakness.
Admitting weakness doesn't make you weak. It just shows that you're strong.
And human.
Human.
We're not perfect.
So what are your coping mechanisms when you're you know, feeling down, anxious?
Definitely working, like I said, working out. I love like going for runs. I feel like physical activity is definitely the way that I get like my biggest release, just to like be able to move my body. And you get so physically tired, and like the exertion and the endorphins, that is always what helps me. But I feel like there's like an array of things out there. Even medication. I've gone on medication before. I'm not currently on medication anymore, but that helped me get through a super dark time of life, and then to be able to, you know, wean off and then get to a place where I'm at now. So
have you ever explored like psychedelics? You don't have to share it on the podcast if you don't want to.
I'll tell you. No, I'm just kidding. No, actually I haven't, but I have heard that like microdosing and stuff is a way to like release trauma, like old like different traumas that your brain has like kept hidden. I've seen it on different documentaries. I've met people that have done it, but I have been too nervous to actually try it, because I'm like, I don't know what's gonna come up, and I just like, I don't like feeling out of my body. But I've heard it's an experimental. Have you tried it?
No, I haven't. But one of our sponsors, and we just did a podcast with the owner of this company, Silly, which is a plant-based psychedelic therapy.
Oh, interesting.
And so I've been learning about it, and it's really interesting because it can help with mental health, like people with schizophrenia, depression, anxiety. I don't know the science behind it yet. I gotta watch more documentaries, but it just sounds really interesting, and it's organic.
You know? I
think
interesting.
If you do it in a safe environment, it's maybe it's worth a shot.
Yeah, if it's something.
But yeah, I'm just curious about it, so I'm always asking people if like
if they've tried it or not.
Yeah, experience it with it.
I have not, but if you do, tell me how it goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. I might need some medication for my stuff.
Oh no.
If I sound a little different, it's just because I can't breathe through my nose right now.
Oh man, it's okay. It happens to the best of us.
Let me take a couple of deep breaths before we get into Instagram questions.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. All right, so let's get into Instagram questions because I got a bunch over here. Okay.
Yay.
Trinity Asing wants to know, how do you stay away from greenwashing phrases and stand out from fake ethical businesses?
Yes, that is hard, and that is something that I still feel like now I'm working on, because when I started Yireh 8 years ago, like I was very young, and so all of these phrases were very new, and it's just something that I learned back then. No one else was really doing it yet, or it's like very early on to say like ethical, sustainable, and now that 8 years later, everybody is saying ethical and sustainable.
To use one of the first, all these people are
I'm
just
they're
late to the party.
No,
OG ethical.
But it's so now I'm like, I'm kind of tired of it too. Like I'm tired of hearing it, to be honest, like all of those things. I'm like, is there something else we can call this? And so actually I think now, so I just want things to move away from that even more so. Like we've said it a lot on this podcast, but truly I want it to just be a norm. Like I don't want people to have to say that. Like I don't actually want to have to say that anymore. I want to move on and it just be like a known thing, and like that this is the standard actually, and this is like not, you actually have to say it if you're not. Like everyone else doesn't need to say it. Like,
so this is a non-ethical business.
Yeah, it's like I feel like it should like flip, right? We shouldn't have to say it. You should have to say it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So yeah, I feel like going forward, I am still working on that and trying to figure out how, like, new words to use, and I'm just using it less because I'm like, at this point, like I'm gonna let it just shine through the product and like the story, and yeah, that's awesome. That's a good answer. Also, shout out to Trinity. I think she does the Malcolm Market. Yes,
I haven't been to one, but I see it online all the time, and I met her a couple months ago.
They're amazing.
I gotta stop by. Go check out the Malcolm Market, people. All right. Mint Chipster wants to know, what is your favorite Yireh collection? And then what was the most difficult collection to create?
Oh my goodness. Okay. Favorite. I feel like everything's my favorite. I really like just because we just released it, but I really love our holiday collection that we just did. It's like included some linen pieces, and I've really been wanting to like do more with linen. So, and then like very bright like holiday colors. I also loved working with Jana Lam, the artist, and on a print. We did a collection together, and Mahina Made, we did a collection together, and those were my favorite this year, if I can narrow it down to that at least. And the hardest was during the pandemic. When manufacturing went like haywire. It was so nuts. I had an entire factory close on me, and so I lost all of those patterns, all of those styles. I had just launched our bloom boxes, which is a subscription box sort of, but you just buy it as it goes. And it was my first time launching it. They were supposed to get it within 3 months, and it took like 6 months just because that factory closed, the printing place that I used closed, and so I had to find all new suppliers, make the styles again from scratch, and it was a nightmare. Luckily, everyone was super nice about it, but that was my most difficult season and I guess collection that was so hard.
It must have been hard on so many of the businesses. Especially clothing. You have no manufacturers. So luckily I worked with two, thank God, but it was a lot to just process and just always learning. I feel like I'm always putting out some little fires. That's how it is. That's what entrepreneurship is.
Really
just putting out little fires.
We're just firemen over here, firewomen.
Did you pick up any COVID hobbies?
I didn't have time for hobbies. I was literally pregnant like every single year, I feel like, and like a part of like Mana Up. I did Mana Up during that time, and I was just like trying to like run the business. But what about you? Did you have a COVID hobby?
During COVID I did the race to 50K.
Oh, that was a huge one.
Student loan. So I had a lot of hobbies. I had like over 100 different hobbies.
You had all kinds of skills.
But like 2021, just Hawaiiverse, I guess.
Yes.
Just doing Hawaiiverse. Surfing.
Surfing. That's a good one.
Well, actually, that's this year hobby. 2022 is when I started getting into surfing a lot.
Yes.
It's already 2022.
Yeah,
Wow.
we're almost 2023.
Almost 2023.
We're
That's crazy,
flying over
yeah.
here.
Yeah. I
Time
think when people are listening to this, there's only like a week or two left of
of the year.
2022.
Oh my gosh.
Wow, that's
Make
crazy.
those New Year's resolutions.
Yep. Okay. Janelle B. Peralta wants to know, what was your hardest obstacle in creating Yireh? Example, finances, motivation, etc.
My hardest obstacle, if I'm just being honest, has always been trying to get in front of new people. So like I started the brand with like a very small amount of money, so that was like really hard to then with marketing and like all of that. And I feel like learning, like getting in front of like new customers and having people hear about the brand like is like the hardest part. But I feel like we've grown a lot, and I'm just, I don't know, I feel like always trying to like, advertising is very hard these days because it's like flooded with Facebook and Instagram. I don't even like doing that anymore. It's just like you spend so much money, you don't get a lot of return back. So I feel like the best has been actually just partnering with other businesses and, you know, using each other to like kind of like expand your cross promotion and reach, and businesses that are like-minded. And so that's been really awesome.
Yeah, collaboration, community over competition.
Exactly. It is the best thing, especially here. I feel like people really understand it here, love it, support it.
Yeah, awesome. Love that. This one comes from my Hawaiiverse team.
Oh, cool.
So I'm pretty sure Callie asked this question. She said, what inspired her to start designing, and how did she start? Well, you already answered that. But I want to know what keeps you inspired to keep designing. So I just want to change that question a little bit.
I definitely have to take time for myself a lot because, you know, with anything creative and that like you can get into like creative lulls and like not have the inspiration for like something new all of the time, especially in the fashion industry. Like I'm even already working on like next summer right now, and I'm just already so like, you know, figuring out what is going to be the thing next summer. And so I feel like just really trying to stay true to myself and doing things that, you know, bring me like joy, like just taking, sometimes you just need to take a day off and then like get remotivated to like go back to it the next day.
So how do you think of these designs? Do you like just go in a dark room and close your eyes and it just comes to you?
I just meditate for hours on end. No, I feel
light
like
some candles. And you just align your chakras.
Exactly. No, I feel like I'm inspired by nature a lot. I'm inspired by color, pattern, print. Like anyone who knows Yireh, like it's very colorful. Like all of our stuff is like very bright and fun. And so I get inspired by like color palettes and seeing different, like honestly, in the early days, it was like a lot of like other cultures and getting inspired by like the colors of their culture. Like when I went to Thailand, everything was like so colorful. I just like loved all of those colors and textures and textiles. And so doing different things like that. And then kind of like seeing, you know, still like I love fashion, so I like looking at trends and seeing what it is, but like making it my own and more classic to where you can wear it like longer periods of time and not necessarily just like a one-time run and then it's like too trendy to like wear again. So sticking to the classics, but still trying to keep it like trendy and modern.
Yeah. Do you find it difficult to like try to keep up with the trends?
I mean, I try to not be like super into the trends because then again, that's like the fast fashion like portion. So I like to be like trendy, like, you know, for things to still be fashionable. I guess fashionable is still like is a better word. It's like you want to be fashionable, and sometimes it's hard, but I mean, it just changes. Like I feel like my fashion sense changes every year, and while as I'm maturing, like I feel like Yireh is also maturing. So like what we started out with was literally like little beach shorts and tank tops, and now we're into like full like dresses and all different types of styles. So I feel like not really. I just love it. Like I love design. I love creativity. I love color, and I love, you know, just doing, I don't know, I just love it.
Do you find yourself maybe because when you design stuff, you probably design stuff that you would want to wear yourself, right? But now that you're a mother, do you think you're just like consciously just like making stuff like, oh, this is like a good mother outfit or something.
Yeah.
Like a mom fit.
Not necessarily. I feel like we are super versatile for like all different, like lots of different ages. Like I have customers that are like 18 all the way up to like in their 70s. And I don't necessarily dress like a mom. So I don't like to like necessarily create things that would be perceived as that, but also like moms like wear clothes and look super good in it. So I don't know, I feel like though it's more of like just moving out of not necessarily like as, I don't know, scandalous as maybe I used to be like in my early 20s, but now more so like mature and just like, you know, making things that you can wear to work sometimes or like for events and, you know, things like that.
That makes me think about like what even like what makes something like look like a mom's fit or like women's clothes. I mean, I guess we have certain, like, you think of like the soccer van and whatever. But I remember I was surfing one time with my girlfriend and her friend and like her friend, so it was like 3 girls. And this guy came up to them. I guess she was wearing like a one piece or something. And he asked my girlfriend, like, "Oh, are you guys a group of moms or something?"
Oh my gosh,
it's so weird.
Totally inappropriate. First of all, excuse me, we can wear whatever we want. We can look however we want.
I don't even know like where that comes from.
Yes, like, I mean, I'm a mom, but I feel like I can still be fashionable. I can still like dress certain ways.
None of them were moms.
Yeah, you're just like,
I didn't even like.
But even just to think of that concept, that because like only moms wear one pieces or like only this, like. This is also the type of thing that I'm like, excuse me, we should not be talking to women this way. We can't be like putting these stereotypes on, and fashion is for like everyone. And this is the type of like fashion thing that I want to break with Yireh, is like, let women wear what they want to wear and like what they feel good in.
Yeah, we don't have to box them into
No, we don't need to be boxed in over here.
Yeah, but also, can we talk about how creepy men are while surfing as well?
My gosh, let's not even go there. It's not cool.
Yeah. I swear I just find myself just like observing so much, like, because when I surf, man, I'm just like, I go there to catch waves.
Yeah.
Like,
how do you have time to do anything else? It's like a life or death situation sometimes.
I'm just like, I'm in the zone. Like, I'm not really much of a talker. Like, I'll say hi to the uncles, or if somebody's next to me, like, or somebody catches a good wave, I'll throw up a shock. I say something, but like, I just see some like people just like start creeping towards like women, especially if it's not too many people in the lineup.
Yes.
And then they're like talking, and I'm just like, oh, should I do something? Like, should I pretend to be their fake boyfriend or
You're
something?
Like, I need to step in. I need to be the hero here.
It's so weird sometimes because like this year I've been surfing so much, and like it's just, I mean, it's a good way to meet people. And like, but like, just leave people alone. Like,
I know, right? Let them do their thing.
Surf. I mean,
yes, I'm definitely not. I give off the vibe of like, don't talk to me.
but also it's the opposite end of that sometimes, where like you could just be like a really nice person, and like you just say something, and then maybe somebody thinks you're like hitting on them. So I guess it's like,
where's the fine line?
Where's the
I don't
line,
know.
right?
It's hard.
Yeah,
just like we're all just that is. I always think about that. I'm like, okay, I need to lighten up a little bit. Sometimes this just could be like, why do I need to think that people are hitting on me? This is not the case.
But I mean, it's hard not to, because like even sometimes like I usually surf with my girlfriend too, but like maybe you just have some interaction or whatever, and it's just like very just casual, whatever, and then like sometimes I would think like, oh dang, I hope that person didn't think I was hitting on them, because like I was just being nice, like like I wasn't trying to do anything. So it's weird sometimes, just like
you never know
the perception. You don't know how people perceive things sometimes,
and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, sorry.
You just do you.
Okay, back to the Instagram questions. All right, this last one comes from Trinity Singh again. She has multiple questions. Awesome. Advice for someone who wants to start a sustainable business.
Definitely do something that you love. I feel like that's the most sustainable thing, is not just going out there and trying to be like, what is the most profitable thing I can do to just like make money off of. I feel like for longevity's purposes, it is very hard to like run a business. Like I feel like most businesses die within, I think like the first 2 years,
there's some sort of
and then 5 years, and then if you make it to 10 years, you're amazing, because it like doesn't happen. So I feel like the like key thing here is to do something you actually love and you're actually passionate about, because when it comes down to like the very hard days, like that's what you're going to want to do research on, of like, how do I be sustainable in this, or how do I do this because I actually care about this issue, I care about what I'm doing, I'm not just out to make money. So I think step one is finding what you're truly like passionate about, and then going from there.
I mean, in the beginning, you're most likely not going to make money.
Yes.
Quickly, so you're going to, if you don't love doing it, it's going to suck.
Yes. I feel like it's hard. Yeah. In the beginning, it is rough. And then I feel like if you stick to it, though, it's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. I have one more question. I don't know if it's super relevant, but somebody asked it.
Okay.
But you know, we're not gonna ignore everybody. Just
okay.
Shandy_271 wants to know, I'd like to move to Hawaii. As a Canadian carpenter, how easy would it be to find work? So I don't know if maybe maybe they just know you have a good answer for this.
Well, my husband is a woodworker, so
maybe
is this why?
I don't know. They asked it.
Shout
but,
out at the Splinter Concept.
Yeah. So maybe we'll just answer it just to give this person some advice.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how hard it is to find work in that. I think that. Okay, my honest answer is I feel like Hawaii is a very hard place to move to. How do you feel?
I mean, I feel like if you have money, it's easy to move to.
Yeah, but if you don't.
But if you don't, then
like most people that I know that move here, and most people I know don't have money, so they'd leave fairly quickly.
It's a sacrifice. Like if you want to live here, most likely you're gonna have to spend a lot of money to live here. Mm-hmm. But I mean, you get the beach, you get the nice weather, you get the nice people, you get good food, mountains for hiking. So it's like, what is your priority?
Exactly.
Yes. So it just depends. If you want to struggle a little bit, but reap all the benefits of this place, then that's what you want to do it. If you don't want to struggle, then don't move here, because it's most likely, unless you have an amazing job, a good support system, it's going to be tough. Yes. Yeah.
And I think that the number one, so that's like always what I tell people. And then also just learning to like community aspect is so huge here. Like we all lean on each other, and we all understand the struggle. We all understand what we're living in here and how beautiful this place is, how lucky we are to be here, but also how hard it is to be here. Like if you don't just come from millions of dollars. And I feel like when you come here, sometimes as a foreigner, you don't have that like community aspect. And so you don't like really learn how to fit into the community, and then it's really hard like if you don't find your people.
Or you just try to make here like there.
Yes,
like where
it's
you
not
were,
like that.
That's usually what happens when because of that, people start to get upset. You upset the locals because you're not being respectful.
Yes.
You're just trying to make us conform to you, but you're in our home, so why would we? It's like, why would I walk into your house and be like, start telling you what to do in your own home, And
why would you? Like, you're coming to a place, and it's like you love the place for the place. So but work wise, I don't know. Ask my husband at the
Splinter
Concept.
Question. We don't know. Check out the
Splinter Concept.
All right, well, mahalo everybody for the Instagram questions. Make sure you leave some for our next guest, and maybe a question will make it on the podcast. I feel like somebody's holding my nose. You know how like when somebody holds your nose and you're like talking like this? I feel like
fine.
Does my voice sound okay?
I think it sounds good. I don't think anyone's gonna notice. I just
pointed it out.
Yes, it's only that it's like, you know what, one of those things when you're like, I don't want anyone to notice. I'm just gonna talk about it. But then actually no one's thinking about it. So I think you sound great.
Okay, thank you.
It's your radio voice. It's your new radio voice.
My new radio voice. Nose plugged radio voice. Yeah. Jordan, how do I sound? Jordan's always honest. Well, here, hold on. Pass you the mic.
He says you sound great.
All right. Okay. When you're making a design, are you ever thinking like, oh, is this local enough because it's a Hawaii brand? Are you trying to like really appeal to the local people over people on the continent?
No, I feel like actually that's what has been like initially starting out was like more of a struggle. It's such a new concept of like a dress here in Hawaii. Like everyone has like, there's a lot of aloha wear brands, there's a lot of different type of local style, but Yireh is very different. Like, yes, I grew up here and I am a local like designing, but it's not necessarily like local like style. So it's been a struggle, I feel like, initially to be like to get in, because people back up like aloha wear a lot. Like that's like if you create an aloha wear brand, I feel like it's very easy to but this was so new and there wasn't really anyone else doing anything like this. But now I'm very happy that I stuck to that, because not only can I appeal to like people here and like people have caught on, and but it's also, I feel like it says Hawaii, but you can also wear it all over the world and in all different places, as long as it's warm. But so I feel like it's not necessarily conforming to just like the same types of style.
Because
does that make sense?
No, but because I feel like, because there is this like local movement where it's like you have to like prove how local you are.
Oh yes,
you know,
okay, like that. No, it is really, I feel like I just never tried to do that. I don't know, I just really like I like what I like supporting artists, and so I support the artists that I love, and then I just make what I like, and I hope people like it too.
I mean, because if it's nice, people are gonna like it. If it's you know, you think it has Hawaii written on it or not, you know. I actually started the brand as Yireh Hawaii, and then I was like, no, I don't want to just be just this, even though it is amazing to be from here, but I really wanted it to, I don't know, really relate to all kinds of people too. Yeah. So do you think your brand appeals to a lot of people outside too? Yeah, we have a lot of mainland customers, and Australia and UK. Oh, nice. So it's interesting, especially Australia. Do you ship to all those? Worldwide. Worldwide. We're worldwide shipping over here. Worldwide shipping. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. All right, so how do you balance being a wife, mother, business owner, all of that, or you just don't? Don't. There's no balance over here. It's really difficult. Every week something is greater than the other. Like one week I'm like, this week, to be honest, like I feel like I'm failing in the family life because it was Black Friday. You know, we just opened the pop-up store. I'm doing all of these holiday like markets and events. Like this is like the #1 time for like retail. And so I've been doing all of that. And so family life is like struggling. Like my husband's like picking up the kids, taking the kids to school, making them dinner, like doing all of the laundry, like all of the things. And I'm, thank you. And I'm like, you know, working a lot. And so I feel like, you know, and then other weeks I am like, okay, I need a break. I'm not going to work as much this week, and I'm going to, you know, spend time with my kids, my family, which is coming up. So nice. I'm happy for that. But I feel like I can't balance it. I try, and I end up just crying because it's like impossible. So you just have to pick and choose and really try to make sure that you give the time to the loved ones, because the loved ones always come first. They're the most important, so that you really carve out time for that. And if it gets too hard, just cry. Yeah, and then just cry. Let it out. Just let it out. Go to your bathroom, look in the mirror, just cry it out. Give it a good cry. Tomorrow's a new day. I can't imagine how tough it is. I mean, it is so tough. Like adding children into the kid mix aspect of it. Oh my gosh, I did not understand. But also on the other end of it, it really propelled my business forward to have kids, because my motivation. They can model for you. And they model for me, because they model for me. No, I'm like 1099 my kids over here. No, just put them under the table. I know, right? Just slide into the bank account, the college fund. But just the motivation behind everything, just like tenfold. Like I think my business has grown like 200% or maybe even more by now from in the last like 3 years. Like every year it's growing like 100-something%, just because I was like, I need to get serious. I have my motivation. Like I want to provide for my family. I like love what I do. I want them to be inspired by me and see that they can do, you know, that they can have big dreams and big goals, and that it doesn't matter like where they come from or where they started or how they started, that you know, they can do it. And so I feel like, even though yes, it has been the hardest thing I've ever done to become a mother, like just changing from being very selfish to you can't be selfish at all, but it has also really made me realize what's important in life, who's important in life, and motivated me like way more. That's awesome. What is the most rewarding part about motherhood? Definitely getting to see the new things that they learn and just experience. I feel like honestly experiencing like
Hawaii, like in childhood, is just so special. Like taking them on hikes and letting them play like in like, you know, little ponds, and then also in the ocean, and taking them on, they like the other day we went out and we just brought out a soft top and they were just like jumping off of it, making it a slide. And
Nice.
those are like the best moments of being like, this is like simple bliss, like the best childhood I could offer you, I feel like.
Yeah, we have this vast, wide, free playground.
It's
here.
Amazing. Yes,
It's awesome.
So lucky.
Yeah. Well, what is one thing that surprised you about motherhood for yourself, or you know, you and your husband, whatever? Like, what are the biggest surprises that, or things you just didn't expect?
How like your alone time goes away. So like before, you know, I had a nice little bougie routine. I'd wake up, like I'd go to Core Power, do my workout, then like start work at 11, finish at like 5, then eat dinner, like have like time. Like I just had like a full like routine of a lot of me time, self-care time, like all of that all stopped and like went out the window, and now I have to like schedule it in and make sure it happens, whereas like it was just normal before. So the me time was definitely a lot harder. Not surfing as much now. That's really hard.
But when they get older, you can just surf with them.
Exactly. Yeah. This is what I recognize, is it's a season. They're not gonna, this is like, life is filled with seasons. And I think where I get hung up a lot is that I think that the season is permanent. So then that's when you start to get really like frustrated and angry about it and like feel a lot of emotions. And then you realize, actually, this is just a season that I'm going through. You can enjoy this moment and this time that you're in. It's going to change like eventually, probably very quickly, more quickly than you would assume. And then it's going to be a new season.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's just just having things to look forward to.
Exactly.
Like, right now, it's so flat in town.
Yeah.
But, you know.
North Shore's pumping.
North Shore's pumping. But then it changes. Eventually, we get waves in town.
Yes.
You know? So it's just like.
Great analogy.
Knowing that, you know, it's going to get better. Mm-hmm. Waves will get bigger.
Yes.
You know, it's all seasonal.
Yes.
You know? We have seasons in our lives. I mean, sometimes some weeks are harder than others. You know, you're busier than, other weeks. But you just get through it, and then you go through it with other people too, and then, you know, you figure it out, and it's like, it's all good in the end.
Nothing's permanent.
Nothing's permanent, except permanent markers sometimes.
Oh gosh, yes. Don't get that on your clothes.
I'm sure with kids, you know, they just mark
or drying your clothes. Don't dry your clothes. They shrink. It's permanent. You can't undo it.
Yeah, that's worse. I struggle with that a lot.
Yes. Oh my God, don't dry your girlfriend's clothes.
I don't.
Okay, good.
I don't. I take it off. She's like,
good.
Take out this one piece and this bikini and like whatever.
Yes. Good job. That's my household's biggest struggle.
Yeah. Well, she's really good. She does a lot of that stuff.
Oh, okay,
like
good.
I do. She's like so good at
awesome.
that. Yeah, I really appreciate that. Yeah. Okay. So what is the most important lesson you've learned in your career so far?
Important lesson I've learned in my career is patience and actually, I'm going to take that back. Patience is also great, but just to not compare. Like, not comparison. Like, I forget who said it. Someone very famous and smart. Like, comparison is like the thief of joy. And I truly believe that when you're trying to compare your sales to other people, your like product to other people, what you're doing, your family, like even in personal life, if you don't have a business, like anything trying to compare, you're not going to feel good about yourself usually. So I think that it's important to stay in your lane, to realize what you're doing is amazing, that you have a purpose for what you're doing, and that you are meant to be here for a reason, and that you have a lot to offer. And I think that that is the thing to like fixate on, rather than comparing to what someone else is doing, because their purpose and what they have is totally different than you. Yeah,
that's great. That's one of the things that I thought about when I was in the Peace Corps, is that you can't compare your service to other people's service, because you know, maybe somebody's like building a playground and you're just like, I don't know, just chilling with the kids.
Playing soccer
play
every
soccer
day,
or whatever, you know,
and
then you start to feel like, oh, should I be doing more? Should I be doing less? And like, or like you're doing too good and you see other people not doing as much, then you start like, oh, am I just like doing too much? Should I just relax a little bit? Am I trying too hard? We have all these things going through our mind, but like what you just said, stay in your lane, do whatever makes you happy. Like you do it, and that's the one thing with social media is like we see all these images and videos of people doing these things, and it's so easy to compare your life to theirs, right?
Yes.
But just knowing that it's different, and that everything you see isn't like as it seems.
It's
right?
a highlight reel.
It's a highlight reel. That's all it is. Like, nobody's gonna post like, "Hey guys, I just fought with my boyfriend. Fought with my girlfriend the last 3 hours.
Yeah.
And now we're all good." Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody's gonna post that.
You don't know what people are going through.
Yeah.
And it is important to just, realize what you have going on is great, and not to compare to others.
Yeah. Well, how do you do that?
How do you do that? It's an everyday practice. You meditate 10 times a day. There's a 10-step process.
Subscribe to the Hawaiiverse podcast.
Yes,
buy 3 clothing pieces from Yireh, and then you
magically never compare ever again. No, I think it's an everyday practice when you catch yourself to be like, oh wait, no, I don't have any business with what they're doing, what's going on in their life or whatever. It's not my business. I don't need to be doing that. I just need to focus on what I'm doing. So just to, it's a retraining of your mind, I think, to be like thinking more positive about yourself, positive self-talk, and then to quiet down any thoughts that come up or anything like that. Yeah. But it doesn't just happen. It's
an ongoing
practice,
thing. Yeah, it's life. Yeah. Do you have any like spiritual practices? Are you into like astrology? I know you mentioned like your Scorpio.
I'm not into astrology. I just know I'm a Scorpio. People tell me all the time, this is why you're like this. I'm like, okay.
So it's your excuse now.
Yes, it's my excuse now. I'm a Scorpio.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, my friend told me I'm a Scorpio, so it's okay. Let me just take this.
It's fine. Yeah. Yeah. Apparently we're very vengeful, but I like to see it as like the justice part of wanting things like fair. No, I'm a Christian, so I do. I believe in God, and that's been my like practice throughout my life.
Okay.
Or I guess since I was 18.
Yeah. So when you went on the trips, were they religious based stuff?
In the beginning they were. Yes. So like Serving the Nations is a Christian like nonprofit organization. So that's who I started with, and then but over time it more so just became like that. It didn't feel right anymore to be going on trips like with a religious like backing or wanting to promote. Like I feel very much like it's not something that I like highlight a lot. I'm like I don't know, I just like to more so live it through like my lifestyle, and I feel like that's just more of like what I feel like called to do and how I feel called to live. A lot of my friends aren't Christians, and I don't necessarily just hang out in like just like a small tight-knit Christian circle, but I do like to promote the values and just
that's good. I think that's the perfect way to do it, because I think it's kind of off-putting when people are over the top, like
Definitely.
evangelical, just like very preachy, because then it turns off people.
Yes.
And then they're just like, well, okay, I don't want to be a Christian now because I don't want to have to act like this, and like it's weird sometimes.
It is, yeah.
And it's awkward.
It's
sometimes
weird.
when people are trying to preach at you, because like I've seen people like do tables or just like come up to you, whatever, and they just try to like force feed it to you. And like I grew up Christian too, and like everybody has their own relationship with God or religion or whatever it is you believe in, and however you want to practice that or whatever. I think at the end of the day, it's on you and your relationship. So. Yeah, I don't know.
No one wants to be forced to do anything.
Yeah, no one wants to be forced to do anything. So when you do that, it's not a good tactic. I feel like.
I agree.
Yeah, because I work at UH as a Peace Corps recruiter part time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I would table there sometimes just with the students, and we had this this one group, just this guy and this girl. They came there. They were just talking stories, and they're like, okay, we're like this Christian group, whatever. Do you go to church? Do you do this? But they just keep like pestering on, And then like my co-recruiter, like, I guess she's not super into it. Yeah. But like, they keep asking questions. I'm like, when are they gonna take the hint that they're not into it? It's like, oh, are you free this day? Like, oh, we have these groups on Wednesdays or whatever. It's like like that kind of person,
That
don't
is-
be that kind of person.
No, don't be that for anything.
Yeah,
Like,
for anything. Like, read the room.
Yes, take the hint.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it is a really like weird topic. Like, even though I'm so passionate about my like faith, I've also had very negative experiences with churches, and so I also understand like the back
Yeah.
end, and so it is like it's a fine line.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think is the best way to go about that?
I think living your life
Just
and
live
like
it.
accepting and loving people.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that there's a way that you need to tell people the way that they like. I don't feel that I need to tell anyone how they should live or what they should do or anything like that. But I'm going to do what I feel is right for me, and what I feel, me and my family is going to do what we feel is right for ourselves. But I'm not going to encroach on you and how you want to live. I'm going to accept and I'm going to love you, and you do you.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to like lead by example, live your life so you can inspire people. And if they're inspired by just you living your life, then
Yeah.
maybe they'll reach out to you and be like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
why are you like this? And then you
And-
can tell them, instead of just like, it's like the same thing as giving unsolicited advice.
Yes.
I feel like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Or sharing your political opinions
Yeah.
with people who maybe don't care.
Yeah.
Like, like all of the things, like it's just, and like, I don't know. It's just developing real, true relationships. Like, I feel like what we're put here to do is like, it's about people. Like, at the end of the day, it's not necessarily, we're not here to just like make money and die. Like, we're here to form relationships and communities, and it's very strong within like our islands too, like the community aspect. Within almost every culture, it's like, it's very noticeable that we're here to be together, to support each other. And so I feel like making genuine connections with people, caring about them, caring about what they care about, and not just being so like for yourself and telling people what they need to do.
Definitely. I think that's one of the biggest lessons I learned while traveling, is just finding your community, finding not even just like a physical community, but that sense of community.
Yes.
With whether that's just like your family that you met in Indonesia, or just like a surf group or whatever it is, like build your community and just stick with each other. I think that's like the best thing you can do, especially when you're in a new environment. Because that creates, your support system.
Yes.
That creates, it gives you opportunities to, maybe try new things. And it's like that foundation.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like, I think that's the problem when people come here. They don't find that sense of community, or they're kind of just like it. Outside of Hawaii, it's a very individualistic mindset.
Yes.
Where here it's very communal.
Very
and
communal.
A lot of countries outside of here, foreign countries, not outside of America, I would say, they're very communal. Madagascar, Bali, I'm guessing, and like maybe even smaller places around that. So it's so cool to see how we're similar, like here in Hawaii, to those other places.
Yes, exactly.
It makes you feel at home.
I think that's why I'm so drawn to like
Yeah.
other places too. It's because it gives me like, I love to be here, but I also love to experience other places that also get it. Like they're also like living similarly, but in their own way, and like it's just very cool to witness.
Yeah, I think that's also why I liked living abroad or traveling abroad over just mainland America.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I feel like there's more of a sense of culture in other places than there is in like the States.
Yes.
I
know. I'm like, I hate to say it, but
yeah,
I also haven't experienced the States so much. So I'm like, oh, I need to see it more. But I've experienced other.
Yeah. I mean, this
their
like
cultures have been around longer, right?
Yeah, and just being just being real here on the podcast. It's like you go to California and or American culture. I've heard people say it's like there's not so much like a real thing as like American culture, like certain cultures
we kind of took from everyone.
Yeah, it's basically everyone. Yes. Like you go to California and like one of the biggest cultures, like the Mexican culture. So it's true, yeah. But that's the Mexican culture.
Yes.
It's like Mexican American.
Yes.
There's like African American, European American. If you consider us part of the Hawaiian American. That's true. It's basically just like someone a dash, culture. It's like, that's what America is. Just like and everybody else's culture.
Watered it down.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so. I totally didn't. I didn't think about that. That is so true.
Something to think about.
Right? Yes, that's awesome.
Okay, so what are you the most proud of?
Ooh, what am I the most proud of? Oh my gosh. That's really hard. I feel like I'm, even though I'm like talking about uplifting and whatever, like I'm also so hard on myself. So like I always need to like re-give this advice to myself to be like, take time to like celebrate. I'm really proud of like the growth that Yireh has had. Like I started the company with like $60, and like this year I'm on track to do like $500,000. Ooh. And that's like huge for me, growth wise. Thank you. And I mean, it's to talk about sales and stuff is like very hard for me sometimes, but you know, I'm actually really proud of it, and it worked. I've bootstrapped this company. I worked super hard. I have a small team of 3 other people, and we just like jam in our Kaimuki office. And I've built something that I'm like proud of, and that I can like stand behind with like its ethics, its values, like everything that I'm like really trying to like instill in the message I'm trying to like portray. And so I'm proud of like the growth that I've seen.
Awesome. Yeah. I'm excited to get to that point with Hawaiiverse.
Yes.
When we're, you know, what, 9, 10 years, 11.
Yeah. No, I'm 8.
8 years. 8 years. So once you hit 10, you're in the Hall of Fame already.
Yeah. And it's, you know, it was a struggle because I started when I was so young. I started when I was like 21, 22. Yeah. I knew nothing about life. I actually didn't even finish college. I have like a 2-year degree from WCC. But it was all like self-taught, and it took a lot longer, I feel like, than like other, you know, some people can like hit that number like right off the bat. But I've learned so much along the way, and a lot of it's been self-taught. And so there's so many, again, going back to it, there's so many different ways to do it. You're on your own journey. It could take 8 years, it could take 10, 12, 15, 20, like it could take 1. And you're like, so you just never know.
But don't compare.
Don't be
like,
compared.
Oh man, this person only took 1 year to get
Yes, exactly. And that's where it's hard, is like the comparison. Like I'm always like, man, I should have been here way sooner. But, you know, like it was a journey, and I had like, you know, mental health issues. I had all these other things that I worked through in my life. And so I'm very proud of it.
But the journey is the destination.
Exactly,
you know?
right.
Like, so I've been watching a lot of Avatar: The Last Airbender recently.
I love that you admit this.
It's one of the greatest shows ever.
Goodness.
Not just like cartoon anime, just greatest TV shows ever.
I've never seen an episode.
It was ahead of its time. Okay, well, you have to watch it with your
homework.
family because my girlfriend hasn't seen it, so we started watching it the last month. So she loves it.
Okay.
So basically, you might not get this, but the people who are listening and watching it,
Most
Zuko,
likely.
you know, he's one of the antagonists, like the bad guys of the show. But his journey was, his character arc so good, and like he did a bunch of things, like went through some struggles. He ended up becoming good. I don't want to spoil it, but I just did if you didn't watch it. But basically, he's like, you know, I wouldn't be the person I am today without all of that thing, without making all that mistakes, without trying to chase and kill the Avatar. But now he's with the Avatar team. But, you know, if he didn't go through all of that, he wouldn't be the person he is today.
I agree.
You know, so like if Yireh took 1 year to make, you probably wouldn't
be
who you are today. You know, there's all the things that we go through in life. It's just so crucial to our growth and who we are.
Mic drop.
Yes.
Yeah,
we have a mic now. I can actually drop it.
Drop it.
Basically, you know, the moral of what I'm saying is watch Avatar: The Last Airbender.
That's the moral of the story.
That's the moral of the story.
That is such a great analogy. I do truly believe that is like the journey is what is most important. You learn so much, and no matter like what it took to get there is actually. And I have a friend who's very close to me who is also an entrepreneur, amazing female entrepreneur. She always tells me that none of that time was wasted, and that you've learned so much in all of this. And so I truly believe that none of your time is wasted.
Yep. Exactly. I love that. Okay, so we're coming to the end of the podcast. I just got a couple more questions I want to ask you. What is something you wish people knew about you that they don't?
Ooh, I don't know. I feel like I'm an introvert, which I feel like a lot of people think I'm extroverted and like doing a lot of like different, you know, events and like always talking to people and doing stuff, but I actually need alone time.
That gets exhausting.
It gets very exhausting. I love it though, especially coming out of the pandemic. It's very nice to like see people again, but sometimes I'm like, okay, now I need to, and it gets harder when you have a husband and kids where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna lock myself in the room. I'm not gonna come out for an hour, and I'm just gonna like sit on the bed and do nothing.
That's so great. I think I love my alone time. as soon as I'm done with this podcast, I try to get as far away from Jordan as possible.
Yes, he's so talkative.
Yeah.
You just can't get him to be quiet.
Yeah. Okay, that's awesome. So, what are you most grateful for?
What am I most grateful for? My friends and family, community, being able to be here and just having the opportunity, I feel like, to, I don't know, just be alive. I don't know. It's so awesome I feel like I am so thankful for the people that I have in my life. I have got some great friends, like a great community that support me, like very great female entrepreneur friends, a super supportive partner. Like, I could not do what I do without Davin. Like, he's been with me like every step of the way. Like, he literally drove me around on his motorbike, like in Indonesia, to all the fabric shops. He takes care of the kids now and makes sure our family runs smoothly so I can like follow my dream, which is also not like, that's like a gender like difference,
Traditional gender, not non-traditional gender role.
Not a traditional gender role. And some people can see that as like he also has a very successful business, but he definitely sacrificed a lot so that I can do what I do, and I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah, kings support your queens.
Yes.
Make the queen the king.
I like this.
All right, so what do you plan to do after this? What is your future goals? What is the future of Yireh?
Oh my goodness. I feel like the future of Yireh is to definitely continue collaborating. Like, I love the collaborative essence that I've like found this year of like collaborating with different female founders, different artists, doing these different pop-up shops like quarterly or annually or something where we get to actually have a physical brick and mortar presence, continue to create with thoughtful intention and purpose, and just to hopefully continue to spread our message and empower and encourage women.
Woo! Mic drop.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. All right. So every time before the podcast ends, I have to ask my guests, what is their life hack? So what is your life hack today?
My life hack, I feel like some people might be upset because this isn't like some extraordinary thing, but I was really trying to think about it. And I feel like my true life hack is to rest and rejuvenate. And I say this because we currently live in a culture that is constantly telling you to literally like reverse your like biochemistry, to biohack your body, to be the most productive, to do all of the productivity tools, like how to manage a million different things at once. And all of those things are great. I practice a little bit of them all. It's like, it's cool to be able to do those things, but also at the end of the day, we are only human, and you need to take time to rest, and you need to take time to do the things that you love. And that is going to make you so much more productive. That is going to make you so much more inspired. That is going to make you love the people around you so much better, and to actually enjoy and love your life and like do the things that you need to do like with grace. And so rest and rejuvenate. Rest and
rejuvenate. I totally agree. I mean, yeah. Once you get older and you just get busier in life, you just realize the importance of rest.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is important.
When you start to get sick,
yes,
you realize how crucial it is just to get a good night's rest.
Mm-hmm.
Something we just completely overlook.
Totally. Yeah. Yes. You might overlook it if you don't have kids, but I don't overlook it anymore.
I am gonna be grateful for my last few years without kids.
Without kids, enjoy it
as much as I can.
Sleep in as long as you can. Surf. Yeah. I mean, you can still surf when you have kids, but it's
Yeah. I'll leave them. I mean,
I'll leave them.
I'll just leave them at home. I mean, they're just gonna cry.
Yeah, it's fine, right? Yeah. They can reach into the fridge.
I have a very like strict parenting like techniques that I have in my head
already.
Like, I'm not gonna buy them anything.
Nothing.
I don't think kids need anything.
Play
babies.
with the rock.
So yeah, I don't buy my nieces or nephews anything.
Oh my goodness.
I tell my siblings I'm not gonna buy them anything until they're 8 years old.
Oh wow.
Because kids, they just give them a rock and they'll be happy.
It's true, actually.
Yeah. So I'm very adamant about that.
That's interesting.
And my girlfriend's like, oh yeah, look at this cute thing. I want to get it for my niece Ayla. I'm like, you spend your money. I'm not gonna spend my money.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah.
It is true.
We'll see if it changes when I have kids though.
You're like,
yeah. But I've been solid through it with all my nieces and nephews.
Really? Oh my god.
Yeah. My oldest nephew, he's about to turn 8 next year in January. So I told him I'm gonna get him a gift, and I said,
You're
anything you want.
First
And
gift.
He asked me for
from
$100, so
uncle.
I'm just gonna give him $100.
That's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Put it in your bank account.
I mean, I saved 8 years of not getting gifts.
Yeah,
so
might as
like
well give him $100.
$100.
Like, that's nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
All right.
I
Okay.
love that.
Okay. I just got 5 last rapid fire questions. You can
Okay.
just answer it quickly. Okay. Favorite pregnancy craving.
Steak and potatoes.
Steak and potatoes.
I don't know why. It was
Nice.
super random.
Yeah, I've never heard that one before.
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite surf break.
Bowls.
Both. Oh, nice. We're out there too.
Yay.
Maybe we'll see
I'll
you.
probably see you.
Yeah, if you ever have time.
I know, right?
Favorite food.
Tacos.
Tacos from where?
I don't know. My homemade ones.
Check it
My
out.
grandma's.
Nice. Favorite date activity.
Surfing.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah.
And a favorite travel destination.
Ooh. I loved Turkey. Oh, wait. No,
Oh,
Mentawais.
Oh, I was confused. I was like, you love Turkey. I was like, oh, because Thanksgiving was?
Yeah, you
Oh,
know.
Turkey. The country is
Turkeys.
Turkey.
Actually, I changed it though.
Yeah.
Mentawais.
Okay,
My
I heard that
my
place is
best
super awesome.
trip of my life.
I gotta go there.
The best trip of my life.
Okay. All right. Well, that's all we have. Do you have anything else you want to add? We're pretty much done. Mahalo so much for coming on the podcast. It was nice talking stories with you.
Thank you. So nice to talk with you. Thank you everyone for listening. I'm so honored to be able to be on Hawaiiverse podcast. And yeah, if you want to check anything out, you can follow Yireh on Instagram.
Yes.
It's Yireh, YIREH_, or you can see our clothing at shopyireh.com.
Awesome. Well, mahalo, Emily, for joining us on the Hawaiiverse podcast. Check us out on hawaiiverse.com, the best place to support local. Spread aloha, be kind to one another, and mahalo for listening to us today. New episodes every Thursday, so make sure you follow us and leave a review. I'm your host, Kamaka, and you'll hear me next time on the Hawaiiverse podcast. Ahui ho.